Okay, so this is our third video in our series of biology. So in my previous video we talked of characteristic of cells, and one of them was that all living organisms are made up of cells. Okay, so we're looking at cells today. So cells were discovered by Robert Hooke, okay, who was able to observe the cells, okay, by looking at an onion. Okay, so now we said all organisms are made up of what? Cells. Okay, all organisms are made up of cells, and we looked at some organisms that are only made up of one cell. Okay, we called those unicellular organisms, and the example was an amoeba. Okay, and other types of organisms, okay, that have got many cells. For example, human beings, okay, plants have got many cells. Okay, those are known as multicellular organisms. Okay, so a cell is a what? Functional basic unit of a living organism. Okay, of a living organism. It's a functional basic unit of a living organism. Okay, so now cells are too small. Okay, you are not able to see a cell with your naked eye. Okay, a naked eye, when you say an eye, meaning a naked eye, that is not being aided by something. Okay, so for us to observe cells clearly, we need to use an instrument called a microscope. A microscope is a magnifier. It can magnify tiny things. Okay, it can magnify tiny things so they are visible by our naked eye. Okay, so microscope, okay, micro simply means something that you're unable to see with your naked eye. It's not visible by a naked eye. Okay, so we use this instrument called a microscope. It will magnify it so that you can see. So cells, a lot of cells, you can only see them, okay, under a microscope. Okay, and we have got several types of microscope. Okay, but broadly you can just say we have the light microscope as well as the electron. Okay, electron microscope. Okay, so a light microscope and an electron microscope, both of these microscopes are able to show us cells. Okay, they're able to show us cells. Okay, so cells are small. Okay, they're very tiny. Okay, very tiny. They are microscopic, meaning you are not able to see them with your naked eye. All right, so when we say a cell is a functional basic unit, meaning that it has some function. And when we say it's a basic unit, okay, for you to understand, when we say something is a basic unit, let's look at here. Let's have this scenario. Let's say you're trying to build a house. Okay, you're trying to build a house. So say this is the house you want to build. Okay, first thing first, you're going to make blocks or order blocks. Okay, then you make your foundation, and then you start laying the blocks one by one. Okay, like that. So you'll be laying each block one by one, like that, erecting your house. So you keep on adding blocks. So let's think of these blocks as what? Individual cells. Okay, as individual cells. Okay, so now you find that as you keep on adding blocks, okay, you reach window level, you keep on adding blocks until you do your roofing. At the end of the day, you get your house. Okay, so that's what we mean by basic unit. It's the smallest unit on an organism. It's the simplest unit on an organism. Okay, so it's a building block. Okay, it's a basic unit, the smallest unit on an organism. Let's look at this, what happens in human beings. Okay, so that you can understand why when we say a cell is a basic unit, what happens is this. Okay, in humans, okay, there's what we call, okay, cell organization. Okay, cell organization. Okay, again here I'll just give you a nice mnemonic. Okay, octoso. Okay, octoso. The first word here is organelle. What are organelles? These are things found in a plant. For example, things found in a cell. Okay, for example, the nucleus. Okay, so these are found in a cell. Okay, then a group of cells, they make what we call a tissue. A group of tissues, they make an organ. A group of organ, they make a system. And a group of systems, you have a full organism. We call this cell organization. Okay, so now for us to understand now what we mean when we say a cell is a basic unit. Okay, let's look at what happens in humans. Okay, so in human beings, okay, so the way humans are made, or the way humans are formed, okay, after fertilization. Okay, after fertilization, so you have a sperm cell with a tail, and you have an ovum. So these, they fuse together. They fuse, then they make one cell, which we call the zygote. Okay, then these cells now start dividing into many cells, okay, to form tissues. Okay, so we're basing this thought under cell organization. So tissues, you get what we call an embryo. Okay, so from an embryo you have a baby now, a fetus. Okay, the fetus. So this baby will keep on growing until finally it become an adult. So, but the whole thing starts from one cell. Okay, a zygote is simply one cell. Okay, it all starts with one cell. As human beings, we begin as one cell. Okay, so this cell is what we are saying, the basic unit. Okay, the basic unit. You just keep on adding, just like I was explaining here. Okay, you add block, you finally have a house, and that's what happens. Okay, with cells. Okay, that's what happens until you get an adult. Okay, it's through division. Okay, we call this cell division. Okay, so, and each of these cells has got a what? A function. That's why we say it's a functional basic unit of a living organism. Okay, so there are two types of cells in general. Okay, two types of cells in general. You have the animal cell, okay, and the plant cell. Okay, so this side here, it's an animal cell, and this side you have got a plant cell. Okay, so these types of cells, you can see such type of cells under a light microscope. Okay, you are able to visualize and see the nucleus there. Okay, also you have the nucleus this side. Okay, then this side here, it's the cytoplasm. Okay, it's a cytoplasm. It's also found this side. It's a cytoplasm. Okay, on a plant cell. Then you have the outermost part of an animal cell. It's the cell membrane. Okay, it's the cell membrane. So the cell membrane is also found in this layer here. That's the cell membrane. Okay, it's the cell membrane. Then these green substances that I've drawn here on a plant cell are known as chloroplasts, and they're important for photosynthesis. Okay, so you have also a cell wall, which is the outermost. Okay, outermost. So you need to know the difference. The outermost layer, okay, on a plant cell is a cell wall, but on an animal cell it's a cell membrane, because an animal cell does not have, okay, it does not have a cell wall. Okay, so no cell wall here. Okay, again, the other thing you can notice, there's a prominent vacuum on a plant cell, okay, which you don't notice in a plant cell. Okay, an animal cell. Okay, so the major differences here, okay, are the differences between an animal cell and a plant cell. The major difference is that a plant cell has got a cell wall. Okay, there's a cell wall. An animal cell does not have a cell wall. Okay, a plant cell has got chloroplast. Animal cell lacks chloroplasts. You have a large prominent vacuum in a plant cell. Have you seen all this area here? It's a vacuum, of which it's not there in an animal cell. Okay, so when you use a light microscope, okay, light microscope, this is what you should be able to see at least. Okay, but when we use an electron microscope, we can even see the outer structure. We can see many more organelles, such as the mitochondria. Okay, we can see organelles such as the ribosomes, okay, and many more. Okay, so with this brief introduction, see you next in my next video.